Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. In this video, we're going to talk about what minerals, elements, forms of sustenance really are. Really are. Okay. Now, big thing at Truly Holistic, what we're trying to do is bring a realization to simply what is, right? What is the foundational baseline of everything? And what we've come to find that is energy, right? Frequencies, consciousness, right? That is the blueprint, the origin of everything that we perceive in this physical world, right? And if you can understand, perceive everything at that level, you see the whole. You see the bigger picture. You see how all the pieces all come together, okay? Why this is so important right now is because where humanity is, as part of humanity's journey or arc or story, is that we live in a world that has more informants, more sources of information, but humanity is more confused and conflicted than it ever has been, right? And a big reason is because of where we perceive and process our reality from and out of. And as a human, we've been taught to use a cognitive process, which is mind, thought, mentality, right? To see ourselves as this identity that is given as the human, as part of a club, which we call humanity. And what is driving and forging that is what we've adopted as the mind, and perceiving that we are the mind, okay? Now, the problem with that, though, is mentality. When we use mentality, we compartmentalize our experience, meaning, right? To compart is to break what is whole into pieces, right? And then give each piece an identity and a label of its own. And the more that we use that mind, thought, mentality approach and process to get our head around what we are perceiving, is that we'll take that piece and we'll break it into more pieces and give more labels and more identities. Now, the further we go down that road, the more and more pieces we'll have, and the more and more we go down that road, the less chances we have to put it all together to see the bigger picture. That's literally a path to literally keep us in the dark, right? Compartmentalization is used in certain agencies and government agencies so that individual does not know what they are contributing to in the whole. To be left in the dark, literally. Okay. So if we want to know and understand our role, who we are, what the world is, everything about it, to resolve anything, a health problem, an issue in our life, we need to see the whole. We can't continue to use a process to try and figure it out that is actually literally removing us further and further away from seeing the whole. Okay? It's not about changing thinking. It's not about changing mentality. It's about removing that completely. What are we without the thoughts, without the mentalities? And that starts from knowing what thought is and what mentality and what really the mind is. And what we've found is the mind ain't you. When you connect into more of what you are, right, to gain the clarity, to see the whole, to understand the whole and how the pieces fit together, it becomes very clear to know what you're not. Okay, and this is a huge drive that we are providing at Truly Holistic. Now let's get into what I really want to talk about, which is an example. I was talking about, what is the sustenance, right? Elements, minerals, elements on the periodic table of the elements. Minerals, vitamins, all these things that we see as sustenance, right? And often when we're trying to negate a health problem, we go and look at the diet that we're eating. Has it got magnesium in it? As what supplements I need to fulfill where I'm lacking, right? We see it as something we have to get outside of ourselves and bring it in, right? But I'm here to empower you. And this is an example in a session today where I mentioned, hey, because I do everything energetically. I was working on this lady who was in America, in the US at the time. I'm in New Zealand, right? And she had a lot of inflammation within her nervous system. Now, understand inflammation is present when there's a lack of energy flow in the nervous system, and that's generally when the nervous system is unregulated, meaning it's imbalanced, right? And again, what's a byproduct of using a cognitive process, mind, thought, mentality, an unregulated nervous system, right? So that's a direct connection to that anyway. So what we needed to do is we needed to apply the energy signature of magnesium, and understand that energy signature is what magnesium really is. Because as I say, the foundation baseline to everything is energy, frequencies, consciousness, right? It's just we gave it an identity and a label that is magnesium through a compartmentalized process, right? Because when we look at the periodic table of the elements, they're all different elements, right? That's an example of compartmentalization, right? Really, all those elements, and the way Walter Russell looks at it is they are all part of a spectrum, a complete spectrum of frequencies. Like, back in the old days when you dial in close into a radio station, right? You're dialing across a spectrum, right? And when you hit one radio station, let's say that's magnesium. And then, okay, if we keep going and we come to another radio station, that's calcium, right? But they are all parts of a whole, okay? So when I apply the energy signature of magnesium to my client's nervous system, right, and we're doing it through a quantum entanglement connection, that they are getting the wholeness of what magnesium represents, right, which is not just as an element or a mineral, it's an energy, it's a consciousness, okay? So anyway, when I apply that, the immediate reaction from the client is to say, I have not been taking it, right? And that obviously implies that taking it is the only way they perceive magnesium as something that you take supplementary, right? As a supplement or a food source of that magnesium, right? And immediately that created a reaction in me to realize this realization that's led to this video is what, that's a human perceiving, a level of perceiving of what magnesium is, what this whole aspect of mineral or element, when really, which is what's leading us to becoming dependent to bring something outside of us in, when really the frequency baseline, the energy signature of what we call magnesium, you already contain within you, because you're an infinite soul consciousness. What does that mean? That infinite soul consciousness is not just one spectrum, but a multiple of spectrums of frequency. And part of that spectrum of frequency, if we dial into it, is the frequencies of what we know as magnesium, right? So all just through that change of level of knowing, we go from feeling like we're dependent on, we've got to get it, we're going to lack it if I don't eat food sources or supplement with magnesium, to realization it's always there and I can apply it whenever I need it. Which of course empowers you, right? You're not relying on things outside of you. You can facilitate what you need, because at the deeper aspects of you, within you, you never lacked. The lacking just came through adopting something that is not you. Going back to mind, thought, mentality. Right? Remember, lack is a mentality of lack. What does the mind represent? The void. What does the void mean? Lack. Right? What do people? I'm getting these things because I have a void within myself. I am lacking this. I am lacking that. Okay, I hope you're enjoying this. Okay, so magnesium at its baseline, anything, is energy, it's frequency, it's consciousness. That's what it authentically is, right? And realize the things, the food sources, or even the supplement that has magnesium, they are just mediums, carriers of what that authentically is. They are not what authentically is. They are carriers of it, mediums of it, of that energy, those frequencies, that consciousness. Okay. Now, I've got a system, a self-empowered healing system we call a broadcasting system, and that system has got all these plethora of things that sustain us. There's charts, they've got all the periodic table of the elements, right? All the elements on it. It's got a vitamin chart. It's got a medicinal herbs chart, a couple of those actually, and superfoods chart, crystal energies chart, hormones chart, digestive enzymes chart, essential oils chart, and what it teaches you to do, right? This is the medicine of the future that's available for you today. It teaches you that you find out what you need, but then you provide it from the depths of you. Meaning you're not dependent on, hey, if I need this, I need to go and buy the supplement. I need to buy the superfood. I need to go and buy the medicinal herb. No. You find out, you use your own intuitive process to figure out what you need and what you require, and then you facilitate its original format, its unique energy signature, and also to the area that you require. Meaning, if you need it to go to your liver, you bypass the rest of your digestive system and give the liver the 100% medicinal value of that substance you need. It's so more effective and so more efficient. And do you know what it is? It's also sustainable. We live in a world where we're finding the way that we're living is becoming less and less sustainable. Okay? All these food sources, these superfoods are being sent and traveling from the other side of the world for you to gain that, right? And it's being farmed and it's doing all these sorts of things, and you're not even getting its 400% medicinal value, because all the people that have either planted it, grown it, harvested it, processed it, now packaged it, they're all applying their energy into that product. So you're getting more of their energies than the product itself. And then when you take it orally, then you're relying on a digestive system that works well to begin with. And if it's not, then you're probably hardly getting any of the medicinal value getting to where you need it. Right? This is how you bypass it all. This is where you get back to simply what is, to its original form, how it was supposed to be provided, is this broadcasting system. It's an incredible system. Go and check it out on my product store at trulyholistic.net/products/. It's currently on special. Anyway, we applied that magnesium to this client's nervous system. Then the next thing it asked me to do was apply hydrogen. Right? And at the moment, hydrogen's everywhere, right? With hydrogen water and all these sorts of things. Now, simply, the word hydrogen, hydro means water, gen means the genesis of water. And as I mentioned, right, what is the origin of everything that we know in the physical world? Consciousness, energy, frequencies. So what this means is, this is the origin or the genesis of water itself is hydrogen, meaning it's the consciousness of water. Okay. Now, the consciousness of water, its original format, is a substance that is a very flowing substance, right? What we call the form of flow is a vortex. And a vortex, with its forces of centrifugal centripetal forces, is what showcases what we know as a cleanse, right? One force pushes out what you don't want and brings in what you do want. Okay, that's what every cleanse is. It's trying to bring flow to an area that was once congested. Now, a human that is very mind-oriented, what does it do? It provides a state to their body that enhances and supports accumulation, and that leads to toxicity, right? When we get you back into your natural state, back in the heart, what does that promote? A body that provides more flow to it, therefore it can enable those centrifugal forces naturally in the way that you exist. Not out of act of doing, just simply being. that is always cleansing and detoxifying your body, keeping your body clean. Okay. Now, hydrogen is a big aspect of that, right? The original consciousness of water. We know when we're drinking water how important water is in the body, right? A majority of the body's makeup is water itself, right? So, but the important aspect, like with water itself, right, is not just the quantity of water we drink, but the quality of it, right? So that water is fully connected to its original consciousness. And it's really holistic. We make tensor rings we call the water ring that connects water back to its original state, its original consciousness, to enhance its flow. And if there's more vortex or flow, what is there more of? What we know as hydrogen. Okay, so I hope you're getting an understanding of really what these things are. Okay. Now, when we get more in our natural state, what do we provide more? More flow. What's that? More hydrogen. Okay. Now, you got to understand, it's not only the human thinks so small, but it was never in the ballpark that thinking becomes something big. Okay. Because ultimately thought, mind, mentality, it limits you. Its purpose is to limit you, but also not just limit your capabilities of what your infinite potential is. Right? We're getting into manifestation here as well. But it's also limiting your body, and what it's doing, it's enabling illness. Right? Illness is simply this: a state that promotes congestion, obstruction, and blockage of flow in the body. Right. Okay. So, as I said, the way that we perceive vitamins in the way we do, minerals in the way that we do, the productivity of the elements, all examples of compartmentalization, which is a byproduct of using mentality, right? Compartmentalize. You need to mentalize to take what's whole and break it into pieces. And we don't want to break it into pieces. We want to remain with the whole. Anyway, I thought I'd give you this example in this video because, again, I can help you so much with this. Not just the higher level of knowing, but teach you how you can apply all these sustenance, all these compartmentalized views of sustenance, but in its holistic form, its original state, just you alone. I do that in sessions all the time. I was somebody for years and years, bought all the supplements under the sun, all the superfoods all around the world, and now I don't have to take any of them. Why? Because I learned and understood what they are at their original format, and that you can provide that. And that's what led to the creation of what I call the broadcasting system that I use with clients every day. So if that sounds interesting to you, you want to book an appointment with me, go to my appointment page at trulyholistic.net/appointments/ or would you like to buy the broadcasting system itself, become empowered to just lift up a gear, step forward into what is the future of medicine, but is available to you today? So go to product store, trulyholistic.net/products/. Till next time, catch you later.